I do want to ask you about this. The two surviving roommates. Things are very different since 1996. The advent of social media, the cyber sleuthing, the community of people who think that they've solved it and dox people if they think they're guilty. It's tragic and it's also helpful at the same time. But in this particular case, the two surviving roommates, Dylan and Bethany, they have been attacked online endlessly. How could you not have heard? I don't buy it. You're guilty. I mean, it sort of smacks of the stuff that you and your family had to deal with. And it wasn't from online, it was from the police.
Well, yeah, the police, in our case, believe we were the killers, and we just had to figure out which one it was. And so they brought intense pressure on us through releasing false, incriminating information. The media jumped on it, and they hoped that one of us would confess and turn the other in. In this case, that's not what's happening. You know, the problem with the internet trolls, or whatever you want to call them, there are not a lot of people out there that are doing that. There's a few handful of people that have nothing better to do in life than spout off and make accusations. The best thing that those two young people can do is just ignore it. It's a very, very small percentage of the community.
The hell that you went through, John, you and Patsy and Burke, and God rest her soul, she didn't live to hear that you were cleared from that umbrella of suspicion. That happened 2 years after she died. She had to endure 10 years of it. Could you imagine it with the advent of social media? I mean, this happened to you without social media. Could you imagine your world if there had been social media?
Well, I don't know. We had the tabloids, and they jumped on it in full force, and their method of operation is to make stuff up and hope they don't get sued. And that was a bit of a social media, even though they don't have a huge subscriber base. You see it, hundreds of million people see it in the as they're checking out of a supermarket. So I don't know. That's really an interesting question. I don't think social media makes a difference one way or the other. The important thing is that the case remain in people's minds, that it's at the forefront of the police every day, and you don't want to let it die a slow death.
You know, I'm thinking ahead that we're 4 days away from Christmas. And I just can't imagine what your last 26 Christmases have been like. How do you and Burke approach the holidays? How do you get through them? I can't imagine that time has really done any healing.
Well, you don't ever get over it or heal completely. You're different. Your world's different. Your life's different going forward. And, you know, for several years, we couldn't have Christmas. We just couldn't do it. Couldn't bring ourselves to it. Put up a tree and exchange presents. But then we thought, well, no, we've got to do this for Burke. He was still a child, that, you know, 9 years old when we lost JonBenét. So that got us, and that was an important thing for us too, that we realized we had other children that needed us now to be stronger than ever. And I've seen parents that just collapse and go into deep sorrow over the loss of a child, while their other children need them more desperately than ever. And you just got to get yourself up off the floor and push ahead. And one of JonBenét's little friends, actually, sorry, it was Beth's little friends. I lost my oldest daughter, Beth, in a car accident a few years before JonBenet. And at her funeral, her little friend came up to me and said, "Mr. Ramsey, if I died, I would not want my parents to be sad." And I thought, you know, I know that's how Beth would have felt. And that helped me think about it. But no, it's your ability to find joy and happiness is tempered, and it will be really for the rest of your life.
You know, it's out of the mouths of babes, I'll tell you. Joe Petito said the same thing about refocusing on the fact that your surviving children need you, and they need you to be a certain way, and they need you to communicate with them. John, Merry Christmas to you and your family. And thank you for speaking with us. It's good to see you again. You look wonderful, and I'm glad that you've got the Christmas decorations behind you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.